Iphigenia at Ilium. Act 1. At the foot of the broken walls of Troy, to the right, the stones of the wall have tumbled into a rough stairway which permits ascent to the top of the battlements. On the left, a few warriors, who were detailed to stand guard on the woman, are playing dice. Huddled together are Hecuba and Andromache, with their serving woman asleep around them. In Andromache's lap is her infant son, Astyanax, whom she is comforting. "There, baby, there. Take the nipple," says Andromache. "Suck. Oh, see, Mother Hecuba. He's too tired to suck, poor baby. All the smoke and noise." "And howling," replies Hecuba. "We've all been doing that. It's the crying's kept him awake, daughter. Well, I'm through with crying. I cried for Hector, my son, and I cried for King Priam, my husband, and I cried for the city of Troy, and then I cried for me, and that's enough of it." "I'm dry of weeping too," replies Andromache. She looks up at the walls above her, where a group of people have paused to gawk. "Bitch." Hecuba, looking up. "You mean Helen?" "Well, she's not down here in the dirt with us, is she?" replies Andromache. "She's not trying to find food for a baby, or worrying whose slave she's going to be." "That one is no man's slave," says Hecuba. "Still, Menelaus vows he'll kill her." Andromache shakes her head. "He'll not kill her. Kill the source of so much glory. Kill the topic, often 1,000 poets' songs. She'll go back to being a wife and honored queen, shown off like a prize cow. She'll sit in a carved chair with a silver sewing box and spin purple wool when all of us are dead." Looking up at Helen laughing on the battlements. "May her womb be closed forever. May she never bear another child. May she have boils in her—" "Shh, shh," says Hecuba. "Your curses may bear fruit, and if they do, you'll bring Erinyes down upon yourself. All those who curse their kin bring down the three avengers on themselves." "I wasn't cursing kin," replies Andromache. "I cursed at her and at those Greeks who brought my Hector down. They're no kin of mine." "She's a woman, Andromache," Hecuba said, "a sister of ours. Perhaps she even thinks herself a Trojan. Long years she's walked the torchlit halls of Troy." "One day was too long," bites Andromache. "Even 1 hour's too long, Andromache," Hecuba replied. "But do not risk what little we have left on her behalf." "What little's that?" asked Andromache. "You are my son's loved wife, and you're alive. Your baby Astyanax is alive, and even I'm alive, though that may be sparse comfort for us both. Your daughters, Polyxena and Cassandra, are alive, such as they are," said Andromache. "That's true, so let's not tempt the Furies down for the sake of mere cursing," said Hecuba. She takes the baby from Andromache. "Oh, baby, baby, little Astyanax. He's trying so hard to fall asleep." "Speak of reasons for cursing," Andromache says. "Here comes Talthybius." Talthybius enters to the left. Hecuba fumbles in her skirt. "Do you come like the raven, messenger, to croak dishonor in my aged ears?" Talthybius shook his head. "I bring such messages as I am sent with." "They do not ever send you with good tidings, do they, Talthybius?" Hecuba replied. "Priam's wife, if they had good to say, they'd come themselves with joy salving their lips." "But you they send with vomit in your mouth," said Andromache, "and Hector's blood still warm upon your tongue." Shh, my daughter, said Hecuba. The messenger brings only what he's given. What are you given now, Talthybius? Some word about your children, Priam's queen. He casts about for some acceptable part of the message. Cassandra. I bring word of Cassandra. Hecuba nods. She went quite mad, you know. She ran through the palace up and down, dancing with Hymen's torches in her hands, whirling until she set fire to her hair. We threw wet blankets on her, holding her until the flame was out. Her nuptials shall light a funeral pyre, or so she says. What else is there to know about Cassandra? Agamemnon is to take her home with him. She pleases him, said Talthybius. One can account so little for some things, Andromache said. He's pleased with her. Then he is likely pleased to taunt the gods and court his own destruction. What will he do with her? Talthybius shrugged. He will bed her, I think, madam. He'll bed the virgin priestess of Athena, Andromache exclaimed. When he is done, then will he curse at Zeus and piss upon the image of Apollo? Or is he turned by madness that he seeks a mate most like himself? Shh, my daughter, Hecuba soothed. Do not curse the Greeks, who seem so well able to prescribe themselves. So Talthybius, Agamemnon will take Cassandra. What of Polyxena? Talthybius paused uncomfortably. She was assigned by lot, as were you all. Where? To whom? What Greek takes Polyxena? Hecuba insisted. She has been assigned to serve the tomb of Achilles. Slave to a graven tomb, Hecuba exclaimed. How dreadful for her. She loves the lively arts, Talthybius. Dancing, eating. To think that she must serve Achilles' tomb. Count her as happy, queen, Talthybius said. Her fate frees her from troubles that still follow you. What troubles have I? Hecuba said. So I'll be a slave, when thousands lie buried on the field, when blood runs down to feed the summer trees. Does slavery count for much? You will be slave to Odysseus, Talthybius explained. His ownership will be as short as my subservience, Talthybius, Hecuba said. I am an old woman. See, my hair is white. Talthybius leaned down to look at her closely. You have years yet. Hecuba fumbled in her skirt again, then removed her hands and clenched them in front of her, staring at them. There was a pause. My daughter Cassandra says not. No one believes Cassandra, Talthybius said, shaking his head. As for Andromache, I'll be a slave, said Andromache. I know it already. I say with my husband's mother that my slavery will be brief. But you're young yet, Talthybius pointed out. Andromache nodded. So I am. Enough, Talthybius, Hecuba said. You have told us enough for one visit. Croak somewhere else for a time. Talthybius shook his head. Queen, I cannot. Oh, said Andromache. Do you bear some vomit yet? Shh. Hecuba hushed. Your son, Andromache, Talthybius went on. Do not tell me of any wickedness which would wrest a suckling from his mother's arms, said Andromache. Don't tell me he'll be taken from my care to grow to manhood in some other house. I will not tell you that, Talthybius said. He'll go with me? You would not leave him here? Talthybius replied sadly. Here, yes, on his father's soil, in his father's place. Whose words are these? Andromache insisted. Odysseus spoke before the Achaeans, extolling Hector's glory. He said that they could ill afford to rear a hero's son, lest he rise up when he is grown, and avenge him for his father's death. Then they will leave him here, Andromache said, with some shepherd, Some potter, some lowly family? He will be here among these stones, said Talthybius, thrown to his death from Troy's new Riven Walls. So they have said. Andromache screamed and clung to her child. Talthybius summoned the guards, who helped him wrest the child from her. Then he ascended the stair of tumbled stone, she crying after him. I call doom upon you, Talthybius, and those who sent you here. I call doom upon their ships and upon their men. I call the Furies down. Oh, do not, do not. Give him to me. He is only a little child. My milk is still warm on his lips. Gods, Talthybius, they'll curse you. Don't. She screamed and wept. Hecuba held her tight. Andromache, love, daughter, sweet girl. Oh, why didn't I when I had the chance? Oh, why didn't I? Oh, here, hold on to me. How can they do this to a baby? There was a cry from atop the wall, a high, piercing sound like a bird. They looked up. Talthybius had thrown the child from the walls. The guards all looked down. The ghostly figure of Iphigenia wandered near them. Who's that? Asked Hecuba. Who walks on these walls among the warriors? The cry came again, and the ghost of Iphigenia was seen. In her arms she carried the ghost of the child as she descended the stair. Do warriors have no pity that they do these things? Asked Andromache. What stomachs them? Are men made up of iron? What do they use for hearts? Do they not see we are the same as they, our children like their children, and our flesh like that of woman whom they left behind? Iphigenia cried out like a seabird. What difference would it make? They do the same to their own. Who calls? Asked Andromache. Is that my child? Iphigenia held out the baby. Your child, or some other's child, 2 children dead, 1 virgin girl, 1 suckling boy. See, here we are, wandering together. She danced amidst the stones. Who are you? Hecuba asked frightenedly. I am Agamemnon's daughter, come from Hades' realm to seek revenge on him who killed her. You are daughter of Agamemnon, said Hecuba, the man who says he'll take Cassandra. Ah well, we know the truth of that, old woman, replied Iphigenia. He will not take her far nor keep her long, and you need not curse him. I've cursed him quite enough without your curses. Is that my child? Insisted Andromache. If I am my father's child, Iphigenia said, this is your child. No, it is a better child to you than I to my father, for this babe does not curse you. See, he smiles. You curse your father? Hecuba inquired. I curse him who killed me, Iphigenia said, and him who tricked my mother into letting him. Give me my child, Andromache said. She reached for him, but couldn't hold him. Iphigenia shook her head. He is beyond your grasp, unhappy queen. But see, he smiles again. Be glad he's come to me. He has kinfolk who walk amongst us ghosts. Polyxena will rock him in her arms and give him buds of asphodel to suck. Polyxena dead, Hecuba exclaimed, but Talthybius said she served Achilles' tomb. Iphigenia nodded. She was slain on Achilles' tomb, if that is service. O false Talthybius, to riddle me with these serpent words, my daughter dead, Hecuba exclaimed. Her throat was slit above Achilles' corpse, said Iphigenia, as mine was cut above Artemis's. They like the smell of virgin blood, these men. They tell us that the gods are pleased with blood, said Hecuba. Oh, shh, don't curse the gods, old woman, said Iphigenia. It's man who puts the blood stink in their noses and clotted gore upon their divine lips. Would you drink human blood instead of meat? Do not the gods have cows? Don't they have cooks? The ghost of Achilles appeared upon the battlements. I seek my servant, Polyxena. Iphigenia called from ground level, "O mighty warrior, she is not here." Achilles replied petulantly, "She's supposed to be here. They spilt her maiden blood upon my tomb, so she would be here." "But they didn't ask her if she would serve you, Achilles," Iphigenia said. "Now that the warrant of warriors no longer runs, she is her own ghost." "She is my slave," insisted Achilles. "It has all been arranged. Spill a maiden's blood, heart's blood, or maidenhead, and she's yours. Everyone knows." "She is no one's slave, Achilles," said Iphigenia. "In the place of shades we are all equal." "O maiden spirit, what is this mouthing?" asked Hecuba. "Achilles' shade stands on the battlement," Iphigenia replied, his member turgid with the fever of his passing, calling for Polyxena. "Poor Polyxena," replied Hecuba. "She may do as she likes, Priam's queen," said Iphigenia. "Nothing here constrains her." "What would Polyxena do if nothing constrains her?" said Andromache. "Mother, what will she do?" "I think she'll sleep," said Hecuba. "Polyxena was ever fond of sleep. Do they sup in Hades? Do they dance? Perhaps she'll eat or dance. She liked to dance." Achilles descended the stair. "If Polyxena won't attend on me, I'll set myself some other likely game. Are you Iphigenia, maiden child of mighty Agamemnon?" "Well, once I was," said Iphigenia. "Why then we are betrothed," said Achilles. Iphigenia laughed. "Don't play the fool, Achilles." "Odysseus bid you come to Aulis to wed me, did he not?" said Achilles. Iphigenia shook her head. "Pure trickery to get me there, Achilles. They didn't call Odysseus the fox for nothing. I curse him as I curse my father. You knew nothing of betrothal then. When my mother greeted you as my betrothed, you thought her daft." "That's true," said Achilles, "but later on I agreed it was not a bad match. You were Agamemnon's daughter, after all. I offered to defend you." With shrill laughter, which echoed from the battlements as though from a horde of female spirits, Iphigenia declaimed, "O Achilles, Achilles, after I died you said that you admired my courage, though courage it was not. Anger it was, at all you murderous men, anger which steeled me not to shame myself. Some poet, hearing of your fatuous words, composed a song about the bloody deed, and not content with truth, embroidered it with fulsome lies and patent sentiments. What really happened was, you hid yourself, and stayed in hiding until I was dead." "It wasn't you who died," objected Achilles. "Artemis sent a hind to take your place. Everyone knows." "What people know is what they want to know," said Iphigenia. "That was a late-come hind, great warrior, for I was there and never saw it come. Artemis sent no hind. Artemis had more urgent business in some other place. It was my blood spurting upon the stones each time my heart's fist clenched. It was my brain afire with pain, my voice gone dumb, my eyes turned to dimming orbs of sand-worn glass, their youthful luster lost forever. Iphigenia, Agamemnon's child, died on that bloody stone, not some poor hind." "Oh, pity, pity," said Andromache. And though by now all poets gloss it o'er, to make it seem a different, kinder thing, there was no great Achilles at my side, no God-given hind to take my place, said Iphigenia. I made no offering of myself as sacrifice, though all the songs in Hellas said I did. "What are you saying, spirit?" asked Hecuba. "I am attempting to explain to the warrior that those who took my life murdered me, though every poet in Hellas sings it otherwise," said Iphigenia. "If it is not as the poets say it was," asked Andromache, "why did they kill you, maiden?" Iphigenia sighed with impatience. Upon the shore the hosts of Hellas stood, ranked by their thousands near the bird-winged ships, come full of martial fervour to the aid of Menelaus, whose wife was raped away. So much we know, Andromache said. Helen was here. We did not want her, but she was here. Don't interrupt, said Iphigenia. If I lose my rhythm, I forget what I'm saying. Upon the shore, etc., etc., whose wife was raped away. Let's see. They stayed in Aulis, where contending winds gave them no passage forth to Ilium, and waiting, felt their blood begin to cool. Some spoke of Helen as a stolen cow, unwilling to risk lives for such a cow. Some thought of harvests waiting them at home. Some thought of wives and babes, though but a few. Until at last the host was discontented, no longer single-mindedly intent upon the course of warlike righteousness. Yet still each man was shamed he should appear as laggard for his peers. So some of them, conspiring to the benefit of all, gave Calchas minted gold, to act as seer and prophecy that there would be no wind to bear them forth to topless Ilium, until the hour my father kept a vow he'd made long since, a vow to kill his child as sacrifice to Maiden Artemis. Hecuba replied, horrified, which he would never do. No father would do that, Andromache said. Well, so they thought, replied Iphigenia. They thought that Agamemnon would refuse, then they could all go home. Surely he offered another sacrifice, said Hecuba. Which did not suit their purposes at all, replied Iphigenia. And when they would not take a substitute, said Hecuba, he sent Odysseus, full of trickery, to bid my mother bring me to be wed, to Achilles, if you can believe that, then gave me to a priest, who cut my throat. And none of what the poets say is true? Asked Hecuba. Oh, Hecuba, Hecuba, said Iphigenia, you're such a woman. Can a woman believe such nonsense? Think, I was a maiden girl, scarcely more than a child. My head was full of new gowns and festivals, and wondering whether I should ever have a lover or not. The words the poets poured into my mouth were the prideful boasts of Argive battalions. They say I offered to die for Hellas. What did I know of Hellas? Hecuba nodded. It's true. When I was 13, I wouldn't have died for Troy. Achilles irritably scratched his crotch. I don't understand why they said all those things if they weren't true. I thought you were my betrothed, whom I defended. My father used me as he would use a slave or a sheep from his flock, said Iphigenia. I think that many fathers do the same. Then, having done, he claimed I'd wanted it. Perhaps it made him feel less vile. Men like to think well of themselves, and poets help them do it. Achilles sighed petulantly. Apollo saved me from a clever woman. He looked over her, head to toe. Still, it is said we were betrothed. You may as well forget it, Achilles, said Iphigenia. There is no fucking in Hades. Act 2. Cassandra enters from the left. Mother, Andromache, I have come to say goodbye. Cassandra, exclaimed Hecuba. Still here? Oh girl, I'm so weary of farewells, saying goodbye to living and to dead, long, sad farewells where there's no good to come. There is no sleep enough to heal farewells, and now you're here when I had thought you'd gone. Others have gone, said Cassandra, but Agamemnon stays. He says he has some trouble with his sails, so long left furled upon this Trojan shore that they are full of rot. Any housewife could have told him that, said Andromache. All seaside towns hold mildew like a sponge. Such a humble thing to thwart a tyrant's purpose, said Hecuba. Strength often comes from unexpected sources, perhaps most often from the humble things, replied Iphigenia. "Is that Polyxena?" said Achilles. Iphigenia shook her head. "This is Cassandra, great Achilles. Look closely. That one is still alive." "Ghosts. Who are these ghosts?" said Cassandra. "You see them too," Andromache said, surprised. "Is that Achilles? And the child, Andromache, is that your son?" said Cassandra. "It was my son. Odysseus had him slain." Cassandra wept. Alas, such is the fate of warriors' sons. At once the ghost of Polyxena appeared on the battlements. Slowly she descended the stairs. "So you have come at last, Polyxena," said Iphigenia. "Please take this child from me." "I am not fond of children," said Polyxena. "Girls, perhaps, who have some hope of life, but not of boys. Boys play with death as though it were a game, cutting their teeth on daggers. No, I am not fond of children." "Be fond of this one," Iphigenia insisted. "It is your brother's child." "Hector's son," Polyxena said. "Well, and so they killed him too." "I have seen blood," said Cassandra. "Cassandra, do sit down," Hecuba said. Hecuba turned to Polyxena. "Odysseus had Andromache's child thrown to his death from high atop the walls." "A pity," said Polyxena, "though no more than one might guess would happen with these disputous Greeks. For all the joy they take in getting sons, they take as great a joy in killing them," said Iphigenia. "There's not a warrior but would have his sons be warriors in their time." Iphigenia spoke then to Andromache. "If Hector lived, would he not teach his baby how to kill and how to die?" "He would have, yes," Andromache admitted. "If he'd lived long enough, he would have felt dishonored if his son had not espoused the sword." Iphigenia jiggled the baby. "It's just as well then that he didn't live." "Do you speak of my husband or my child?" Andromache inquired. "What difference?" said Iphigenia. "I speak of either one." "Who are you," Polyxena said, "to have cared for Hector's son?" "I am Iphigenia, Agamemnon's child. I came to Ilium to avenge myself on him who murdered me." Cassandra went on. "I have seen blood." "Shh, dear, please," said Hecuba. "Blood and bodies broken." "Shh, Cassandra," Hecuba insisted. "We know, dear, we have seen blood enough to last our lives. Blood and dead children and the bones of men. I cannot understand how warriors live among so many slain. They seem to take their strength from dying men, as do the holy gods from sacrifice." "White altars red with blood," Cassandra augured, "with heart's blood shed, with blood and bodies broken." "Shh," was Hecuba's refrain. "I have seen the land laid waste and burned with brands, and desolation bled from fiery wombs," said Cassandra. "So have we all, sister," Polyxena said forlornly. "Look around you, see what is lost. You may weep for the walls of Troy. I would weep for the dances I will not step again. You weep for the dead, I would weep for honey cakes. You may weep for Troy's children slain. I would weep for the wine spilt from the jar, never drunk. Oh, I pray the gods have given me power to strike those warriors down. I would have used it well." "Polyxena," Hecuba said, "how can you? To shed your tears for cakes." "What tears?" said Polyxena. "The dead have no tears. I cannot weep. If I could cry, then I would cry for cakes. Sweet cakes, gay dances, and bright flowing wine. You grieve your losses, and I'll grieve mine." Cassandra shook her head and cried, "No one hears me. I have seen blood, not this blood here today. I have seen bodies broken, but not these. I have seen a desolation yet to come, in time, at the end of time." Andromache sighed. "She's at it still, I see." Hecuba motioned toward her head, Poor thing. Cassandra wept. Apollo said you wouldn't believe me. Hecuba cuddled her. Well, old Apollo can go scratch himself. Of course Mother believes her little girl. Cassandra, said Andromache, what difference does it make if they believe? Perhaps it's better not if all you see is blood and splintered bone. You don't understand, Cassandra said frantically. Well, stop crying and explain it to me, replied Andromache. I am Cassandra. To be Cassandra is to prophesy, but if they will not hear me when I speak, then who am I but some poor fleshless thing, a ghost that no one sees? Shh, daughter, said Hecuba. You are no less than Andromache. You are no less than I. At least the name Cassandra is your own. One time I had the name of Priam's queen. Once Priam died, there was no Priam's queen. Andromache was known as Hector's wife, but when her Hector died, whose wife was she? Our place was here at many-towered Troy, and when it fell, what place was ours to hold? All that we were by others' strength. All that we had because of place. Place gone, strength gone. We are nothing today. At least the name Cassandra means yourself. There are worse things than having one's own name, said Cassandra thoughtfully. Act 3. Achilles approaches the group of women purposefully. This, then, is Polyxena. Polyxena yawned. Yes, I'm Polyxena. My slave, Polyxena. No one's slave, Polyxena, replied Polyxena. Achilles attempted to grab her, and found he couldn't hold her. She sifted through my arms like rays of sun, like moonlit smoke, like mist, like a ghost, said Iphigenia. Yes, like a ghost. Somehow I was not surprised, Polyxena said, pleased. How can I force obedience on this? Said Achilles. In other times I've used the fear of death to make a woman bow herself to me. If not the fear of her own death, then fear for someone else, a husband or a child. How can I bend this woman to my will? I think I will not bend, said Polyxena. You see, said Iphigenia, it's as we've tried to tell you, great Achilles. Women are no good to you dead. Then I too, said Achilles with dawning comprehension. You are but a ghost, said Iphigenia. Your killing and raping done, your battles over, a wanderer among the shades like us. But I am an immortal, insisted Achilles. The poets say I am, destined to walk among the gods. Are the gods then dead? Asked Iphigenia. They live, said Achilles. And when you lived, you walked among them, said Iphigenia. I did? We all did. What did the poets mean? Said Achilles. That you would be immortal while you lived, said Iphigenia, and may still well be remembered now that you're dead. Men like to think well of themselves. And the poets help them do it, Polyxena concluded. Achilles wept, sinking to his knees. He cries like a child, poor boy, said Polyxena. Iphigenia turned to Polyxena. Tell me, did the men cry when they slit your throat? Iphigenia bent down to touch Achilles' face and tested to see if his tears were real. The walls of Troy trembled in wreckage about them. Hecuba huddled with Andromache. Halfway up the walls of Troy, Achilles knelt, weeping. Achilles, said Iphigenia, why are you crying? It's gone, all gone, said Achilles. My honors and my glory. Thetis, my mother, said my name would be immortal as the name of Jove himself. Yet here I am beside these broken walls alone. Alone. I'd not have said alone, said Iphigenia. Who's here? Said Achilles. Is my friend Patroclus here? Is Ajax here? Where are those of the Argive host who died? All my brave Myrmidons, where are they? What is he saying, Agamemnon's child? Asked Hecuba. He cries for heroes, Hecuba, said Iphigenia. He cries for his friends or any other dead Greek to keep him company. Lonely is he, with us here to attend him, Hecuba said, bemused. Ungrateful of him, isn't it? Said Polyxena. Achilles, we are here to keep you company. Why should you be lonely? What have women to say to a warrior? Achilles said passionately. Oh, a woman might say much if he would listen, said Cassandra. Men do not listen, though. They disregard the things we say as though we were caged birds, singing our songs by rote. For instance, I've told Agamemnon what fate awaits him, but he laughs. Iphigenia tittered. He never listened to good counsel before. Why should he now? Achilles continued as though there had been no interruption. Yes, what have woman to say to a warrior? And what has a warrior to say to woman? Why, you might tell us how you made us love you, said Andromache. I had a father once in goodly Thebe, the city of the Sicilians. You came there, warrior. You sacked the place, slaying my father and his 7 sons. What fame you brought, my brothers, great Achilles, slain by such a man as you. You could speak of that. Or speak of your wooing, said Iphigenia. Tell how you killed the menfolk of Briseis. Tell how you raped her there inside your tent while calling her a fruitling of your spear. Warriors have much that they could say to woman if they would use their tongues. It's not my fault she longed for my embrace, said Achilles. She threw herself before my sandaled feet, reaching with ivory arms to feel my thighs. What you call rape was only that sweet violence the trees well know when, lashed by summer storm, they crash together in the wilderness. What storms these were in which so many died, said Iphigenia. What summer tempests leaving all those dead. So many husbands, fathers, brothers slain. No doubt they were struck down all tenderly, caressed by loving blades. If Briseis threw herself at your feet, said Polyxena, she might have been pleading for mercy. Have you considered that? If Patroclus were here, Achilles said sulkily, he'd understand. We men understand one another. Well, Patroclus has gone down to Hades along with the rest of the dead Greeks, said Iphigenia. And Trojans, said Hecuba. And Trojans, Iphigenia agreed. You'll have company enough when you come there. I've been there, and I know. That's true, said Polyxena, for you were slain 10 years ago. 10 years. Such little time, said Iphigenia, but long enough to learn the way to hell and back again. Act 4. Achilles stands atop a high plinth beside Iphigenia, watching the sun set over the ruins of Troy. What is it like, this Hades? Asked Achilles. Like shadow with no sun, like dark with no day, like the mating of ghosts. Riddles, Achilles cursed, only riddles. I think she means, Achilles, said Polyxena, that in hell we need not damn ourselves by trying to defend ourselves. Iphigenia nodded. That's what I meant, yes. It makes no sense, Achilles exclaimed. What has defending yourself to do with it? I pled for my life, Achilles, said Polyxena. When they said they would kill me, I wet myself. My bowels opened and the shit ran down my legs. I screamed and groveled. I hated what I was doing, but I did it. Achilles, I wanted to live. I wanted to live, but they killed me, stinking like a dung-covered animal. I was slender and still young, Achilles. I loved to dance, Achilles. But they killed me there, in the mess, with my skirt hiked up and blood and shit mixed like stinking stew, damned to forever remember myself like that. Like that. In Hades, perhaps I'll dance. I won't have to beg for my life, Achilles. I'll have no life to lose. I saw my father slain, Andromache joined in. The spear went into his chest where he'd cuddled me sometimes, calling me his sweetheart. The blood came out, and he grunted like a slaughtered pig. A kind of squeal. He was surprised, I think. My brothers came running, but you and your men slaughtered them. Now here in Troy you've done it again, hacked my husband to bits. I keep seeing it in my sleep. Arms, legs, fingers, thighs, all mixed up in this terrible clutter. I keep trying to sort them out, calling Daddy and Hector. Where are the parts of you I loved? And Hector's baby, my baby, his baby, our son, thrown from the walls like rubbish. I heard him cry as he fell. He made a sound like a hunting bird falling into the sea. I can't think of anything else. When the ship that takes me gets far enough from shore, I'll leap out into that sea. I'll be damned for taking my own life, but that's all that's left to do. I can't risk loving anything else to see it slain. In Hades, there's no life, and there's no pain. The dead are dead. They can't be killed again. I had a knife in my skirt, Achilles, Hecuba admitted. When Talthybius bent over me, I could have killed him. I wanted to. I had the knife just for that reason. Yet at the last minute I thought, he's some mother's son just as Hector was. And aren't we women all sisters? If I killed him, I thought, wouldn't it be like killing family? Wouldn't it be making some other mother grieve? So I didn't kill him. But if I had, I might have saved the baby. I'm damned to think of that I might have saved Hector's child. Dead or damned, that's the choice we make. Either you men kill us and are honored for it, or we women kill you and are damned for it. Dead or damned. Women don't have to make choices like that in Hades. There's no love there, nothing to betray. Achilles shook his head, still weeping. I ask you yet again, Agamemnon's daughter, what is it like, this Hades? What's Hades like? Said Iphigenia. Like dream without waking. Like carrying water in a sieve. Like coming into harbor after storm. Barren harbor where the empty river runs through an endless desert into the sea. Where all the burdens have been taken away. You'll understand when you come there at last, Achilles. Hades is woman's country. Iphigenia leans over Achilles, putting her cheek against his own. Wetness runs between her face and his as he weeps.